ये भी और संजना बहुत बहुत स्वागत है क्रिक ट्रैकर प्रेजेंस इन द एयर पोस्ट मैच शो लाइव पर मेरे साथ बैठे हुए हैं हमारे क्रिकेट एनालिस्ट राकेश देवा। सुबह सुबह उठकर मैच देखना आपका भी आदत हो गया है। आज की ये जो रिजल्ट है, पंजाब विनिंग बाय 5 विकेट्स, क्या कहना है
Yes,
आपका इस रिजल्ट के बारे में?
सुबह सुबह उठना पड़ता है मैच देखने के लिए और प्रेडिक्शंस तो करना है और बाद में क्या हुआ कैसे हुआ सब बोलना पड़ता है ना. सो आई एंजॉय इट. Yes, it was absolute a very good game. Kings 11 Punjab played very well. Delhi Capitals were batting very well. They got a good start, 6 over 60 runs. They were going at 10 runs per over, but later on the wickets started falling off. Like how Shikhar Dhawan played in the last game, आज का game में भी 100 मारा, back to back 2 centuries. It's not an easy job, and we have to talk about his fitness. उनका fitness जो है बहुत अच्छा है, because if you look at the previous games, the other players where they were scoring 40s, 50s, 60s, they were
They used
they
to
were
बहुत हाफ
yeah
रहे थे। आई नो,
yeah.
आई कैन सी
But
दैट। धवन के बारे में हम अलग से बात करेंगे, बट अदर देन शिखर धवन्स सेंचुरी, लेट्स थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन दिल्लीज बैटिंग। अगर आप देखोगे, आई थिंक द विकेट ऑफ श्रेयस अय्यर फेल एट द रॉन्ग टाइम फॉर देम। और वो
yes,
डिसमिसल भी,
absolutely.
इट वाज नॉट अ वेरी यूजुअल डिसमिसल डाउन द लेग्स कॉट बाय केएल राहुल, मुरुगन अश्विन की बॉलिंग में। उस
Yes.
डिसमिसल का स्पेसिफिकली अगर बात करना होगा, बिकॉज आई थिंक दैट वाज व्हेन थिंग्स स्टार्टेड अनरावलिंग फॉर दिल्ली। उसके
Yes,
बाद के इनिंग्स के बारे में व्हाट डू यू हैव टू से?
see, that was an absolute. I mean, that catch was absolute an amazing catch, because we have to talk about that. KL Rahul is not a regular wicket keeper, and fortunately, at the same time where KL Rahul caught the catch, Sangakkara was there in the commentary and he was explaining how hard it was. So the credit
Yeah,
must be given to KL Rahul, because that was a crucial wicket and it fell at the right moment, which broke the Delhi's momentum. And then later on, Rishabh Pant was playing very well. He got out. I mean, he was taking the innings a little bit slow by slow, but I think he got out at the right time too. And then Marcus Johnny's came. He got out at the right time. So overall, what I would like to say in Delhi's batting is they were short of some 20 runs or so. Because in the pre-match show, I was talking to Jayan and I was saying the same thing. They were short. If Delhi is supposed to defend the target, then they should at least minimum score 180. Anything less than 180 should won't work. So it was they were short by 20 runs. If you see the way how Kings 11 Punjab won, and if Delhi has scored 180, then that would have been better score. I think Delhi
absolutely.
was short of 20 runs. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very rightly said. Talking about the Gabbar, the that innings of 106 not out, back-to-back centuries बनाने वाले पहले खिलाड़ी इंडियन टी20 लीग में।
Yes, absolutely.
His fitness, like you spoke about, Dhawan की इस last two innings के बारे में अगर बात करना होगा, there are so many different aspects that we can cover. Which is the first of those things that you want to talk about? Is it his fitness or the way, the aggressive batting that he's shown? What he can do.
See, if you see his starting initially 4 5 games, he was scoring some 20s, 30s. Even we were discussing about that. Even the commentators in the IPL commentary panel were also discussing that he was not able to convert those 30s into big scores. But later on, he
Yeah.
started converting it into 50s. He scored back to back 50s, and then he scored 100, and then he scored back to back 100. So two 50s in a row and then 200s in a row. It's not a small deal to talk. Yes, I would like to talk about fitness, because the hot and humid conditions, even if the game is played in the evening, still that heat is going to be there. And playing very less balls, and at the same time he was hitting the boundaries, hitting the sixes out of the park. It takes the energy out of you. You should be having a lot of fitness to deal with that high temperature playing in Dubai. So fitness wise, because if you see his age, he's around 33, 34, and it's not easy to maintain that fitness. Like we discussed earlier, if you remember, during the start of the season, we discussed about this factor, saying fitness, how players are going to maintain their fitness throughout the season, because it's a 50-day tournament. So I would really, we
Commentators
should.
also kept saying from time to time that Shikhar Dhawan is somebody who constantly focuses on his fitness, the energy
Yes.
levels that he brings to the field. एक भी बार हमने, even in the last century that he scored पिछले मैच में और आज के मैच में भी, we never saw him take a sigh of breath, एकदम हाफना,
Yeah.
all those things we
He
never
was
saw
not.
him
He
do
was
that.
not
What
squatting. He
does
was not
what does
coughing. He was.
what does motivate? What motivates the likes of a Shikhar Dhawan to do that?
See, you have to just enjoy, basically enjoying the batting. If you see Rahul, KL Rahul also, he has been consistently scoring 500 runs from last 2 seasons and in this season too. The most and the important thing is you have to enjoy your batting. If you don't enjoy the same thing in today's game, in the context, I would like to mention about Prithvi Shaw too. Prithvi Shaw is continuously failing. What is the difference between Prithvi Shaw failing and what is the difference between Shikhar Dhawan getting hit and scoring 100 runs? Because when you are out of form, the important thing you have to deal is how to play one ball at a time. But what goes on the back of the mind when you are out of form is the target will be there in your mind. The target is to score runs, but you forget about the process, how to deal with the balls to score runs. That was something which has been missing in Prithvi Shaw's, and that is what which is there in Shikhar Dhawan's, and that is what which made him to score. Basically, end of the day, it's all about how you enjoy and how you focus on the process. That is what Mr. Cool MS Dhoni always says: focus on the process, and
Absolutely.
he enjoyed that process. He enjoys what is he doing, and if you see Shikhar Dhawan's body language, also he enjoys on the field, he enjoys in the back. Just enjoy, focus on that particular ball, one ball at a time. And if you look at his strike rate, also 55 balls, 50 balls, it's an absolutely amazing strike rate.
Absolutely. Talking about enjoyment, I think the Lions from Punjab also enjoyed this run chase, didn't they? A fantastic victory for them. Thoda sa hadbadi lag gaya tha at the end, but I think it was a fantastic run chase.
No,
I
it was
think they
a
showed everybody that without a Mayank Agarwal, without a KL Rahul performing, we can still win matches. And I would just like to highlight one very, very important factor. That is the Maxwell factor. Everybody wanted him to get back into form because we all know what a destructive T20 batsman Glenn Maxwell is. Lekin aaj, finally, we saw his strike rate go over 100 and ever so slightly, or more than 100. Uh, what did you
see,
think of this
see
particular run chase? Let's not talk about the people who got out, but let's
yeah.
talk about the people who
See,
actually
more than
stood
more
in
than
and
his
scored.
more than his strike rate, I would like to highlight about his sensibility of batting. Yes, the way he got out, it doesn't make sense. But at least until he got out, he was batting sensible because Nicholas Pooran and Maxwell were the only senior players, recognized senior players, and then comes Mr. Deepak Huda, and then comes Mr. Nashim, who has only played a couple of games. So, but the way how sensible he was playing Maxwell and giving the hand to Nicholas Pooran, who was hitting the balls out of the park, and he was hitting it brutal. The way Maxwell played sensibly, yes, we should appreciate for his sensibleness than his strike rate. I mean, this is not the match I would say to focus about Maxwell's strike rate. He played very sensibly, and that helped because that partnership was very crucial. If Maxwell or Pooran got were was I mean, if any one of those two guys would have got at the right time, then the match situation would have been different. And the match has gone from Delhi's hands to Kings 11 Punjab's hands is where Shreyas Iyer made this mistake of bringing Tushar, and Tushar went for 25 runs. Everybody was thinking they will get Ashwin in because on the other side, it was Chris Gale batting. But after Tushar Deshpande's over, Chris Gale was batting and Ashwin came in, and then Ashwin got the wicket. I think the match has completely moved from Delhi's hands to Punjab's hands right at that point.
It's always about the swing in momentum, and that is exactly what happened in that particular over when the universe boss smashed five boundaries. How long
Yeah,
have we waited for something like that to happen? मतलब पहले मैच से हम कह रहे थे कि भाई गेल को खिलाओ, क्यों नहीं खेल रहे हैं, क्यों नहीं खेल रहे हैं? Finally, the three matches that he has been part of Punjab has won all three of them. He is that lucky charm or that X factor that we've always been looking for, that Punjab has always been looking out for, and it's a great deal that he came to the forte. Let's quickly have a look at both these teams' bowling lineups. फटाफट से उनकी bowling performances के बारे में बात कर लेंगे. Let's talk about Punjab. मोहम्मद सामी, I think the last match जो super over था उसके बाद से उनका confidence has gone up, it's skyrocketed
yeah.
again. मतलब he's been hitting the ball in the absolute nail in the coffin, absolutely perfectly where he intends to. अगर मोहम्मद शामी के बारे में बात करेंगे, Ashwin, we all know what a smart cricketer he is. Arshdeep is also very good. Glenn Maxwell की he's becoming more of a proper all-rounder. हर जगह में Glenn Maxwell को गेंदबाजी मिलती नहीं थी.
Yeah.
But in the
See,
last three games, he's scored his quota of 4 overs.
सी पंजाब का बॉलिंग के बारे में बात करना है तो डेफिनेटली डेथ ओवर्स का बॉलिंग के बारे में बात करना है बिकॉज पंजाब हैज वेरी हाई स्ट्राइक रेट ड्यूरिंग द डेथ ओवर्स बट आज का डेथ ओवर्स में तो दे रियली नेल्ड इट एंड दे बॉल्ड रियली वेल बिकॉज दैट डेथ ओवर्स द बॉलिंग इन द डेथ ओवर्स वेयर शमी एंड द अदर guys bowled it was the game changer for Kings
I
11
just want to
Punjab.
highlight one quick point there. मार्कस टॉइनिस का विकेट शायद से उनको थोड़ा सा
Definitely.
it was a little luck on their side on Mohammad Shami's side because a low full toss Stoinis would have backed himself to clear the ground any other day. लेकिन वो एक
Yeah.
that one wicket to Punjab and Mohammad Shami I think turned the course again. The swing back in momentum again towards Punjab's side.
Yes, yes. Because Steinis came before Hetmer when there were, I think there were 6 overs left, but they wanted the scoreboard to move on because Punjab was restricting Delhi after Shreyas Iyer and after Rishabh Pant got out and Marcus Stoinis was sent. But like you said, Shami restricted and he got him out, and then things went very slow, and that's where the actual things have started going wrong for Delhi. Also, they didn't really score how they may, because if you see at 15 overs they were 125 or close to 130, and the next 5 overs they only scored some 37 to 40 runs, so which is not really a big score during the death overs because if you see all the death overs, every team is scoring some 50, 70 odd runs, and I was also expecting the same thing when Stanis came in, but the things happens right and it's all going in favor of Kings 11 Punjab once the universe boss has came into the team like you said lucky charm.
Absolutely. And talking about Rishabh Pant's dismissal, also, he was not able to connect the ball. Not one single ball did he actually connect. But that was Delhi's batting performance, Punjab's bowling. Let's quickly have a look at what the Delhi boys did on the field. It was not a great total as such to defend, but still, I think they did a pretty decent job. Just a couple of mishaps here and there. Otherwise, I think the bowling performance was almost spot on.
See, I think the game was going very well. Delhi got Rahul out, and then it was going very well. Even Punjab got very good start. They got 50 runs in first five overs, and then Akshar Patel's over where Rahul hit a good square cut boundary, and then Akshar Patel very sensibly and very smartly he changed the pace, and instead of playing again, I mean, instead of playing with the turn, KL Rahul played is against the turn. That ball should have been hit towards cover or over mid off, but he hit it towards mid on and he got out. Until then, the situation was going right for Kings 11 Punjab, and then KL Rahul got down, and then where Nicholas Puran, the run out between Nicholas Puran and Mr. Mayank Agarwal, it was completely, it looked like it was something childish because if there is no run, Nicholas Puran was ready, then Mayank Agarwal was not ready, Nicholas Puran ready. So, I mean, then the match was turning towards Delhi, but then comes Gale Storm, and then there,
It's always about
like,
those small moments which change that momentum that we're talking about. Very well said. Let's quickly have a look at how these teams stand at the moment because just 2 days before, Punjab
yeah,
was at the bottom of the table. और आज आ चुके हैं पांचवें पोजीशन पर. And I'll just quickly like to highlight a couple of more points here. Mumbai and Delhi, जो position number 1 and 2 के लिए लड़ रहे थे, both of these teams have lost their previous games. Do you think that unki jo the fast bowling that they've relied on because the wickets have gotten very slower? Do you think that the fast bowling attack that they relied on is kind of tired at the moment, or is it time for spinners to take this tournament forward? आपको क्या लग रहा है? Has that shift already happened from fast bowlers
yes,
to
I
spinners?
I I mean it's we can't 100% say that अभी पूरा spinners के हाथ में है. फास्ट बॉलर्स का भी चलेगा, पिच थोड़ा बहुत फास्ट बॉलर्स को भी मदद दे रहा. अभी देखे तो इवन टुडे फास्ट बॉलर्स वाज डूइंग गुड, इवन रबाडा गॉट आउट निकोलस पूरन बाय स्लो deceptive bouncer. I think eventually maybe after 3-4 days I think the spinners might play a bigger role than fast bowlers. But right now, for another couple of games, I think it will be equal half and half, where spinners and fast bowlers will play equal role,
Well, then
and
you
they will
predict
have
that there
equal
is
matches.
being a shift from fast bowlers to spinners because Delhi have their fast bowling attack in Rabada and
Yes,
Nokia. Absolutely lethal. Mumbai की तरफ बुमराह है, Trent Bolt है, James Pattinson / Nathan Coulton है. They've also been very terrific अब अगर देखेंगे, everybody is turning towards the spinners, and the spinners have, I think, taken more responsibility. But quickly having a look at these teams, their standings here. Bangalore is in contention. Kolkata is in contention. Now Punjab is again in contention. This
Yes.
tournament just keeps getting interesting by the day, doesn't it?
And if Sunrisers Hyderabad wins the game in the next contest, then it is going to be more interesting. I think
बहुत मजा
the
आने वाला
yeah, I think the only team which might not have chances right now at the current situation, looking at the current scenario, is Chennai Super Kings. But you never know; even Chennai Super Kings might have the chances. Looking at the match with the other teams and looking at the points with the other teams' run rate and what is going to happen in next couple of days. But I think Chennai will have only that 0.001 percentage, whereas Kings 11 Punjab
all
and
the other teams are
Sunrisers. If
still in
Sunrisers
contention.
wins the game, then it's going to be a little bit more competitive.
Absolutely. And talking about competition, we have a great one tomorrow. Game number 39, Kolkata taking on Bangalore. ये मुकाबला बहुत मजेदार होने वाला है, एकदम मजेदार होने वाला है, because Bangalore is, like I said before, very
Yeah,
much in the hunt. Kolkata are also in the hunt. Super over जीत कर आए हैं. Bangalore is also on a winning high. क्या लगता है कल के मुकाबले में आपका उम्मीद क्या होने वाला है?
I,
What do you
I
think is
think
going?
I think it's like you said, it is both interesting होने वाला है because RCB तो थोड़ा बहुत RCB looks little stable than before, and even Kolkata Knight Riders, they might have to face little few problems because of Sunil Narayan. I don't know whether they are going to make Sunil Narayan to play or no. And in the last
I
game,
don't think so. Sunil Narayan is going to get
yeah,
a game because Lockie Ferguson, when he came in, he
yeah,
smashed it.
because the problem is Andrew Russell got injured. So who is going to come in place of Andrew Russell? Let's say Ferguson will replace Andrew Russell, and then who is going to replace in Ferguson place? Maybe they might go with Tom Banton because they need a batsman. Whereas because they were relying little bit, they were also relying on Andrew Russell to give some batting and to do some batting and score runs. So, like you said, Sunil Narayan is a very least option because they don't want to take that risk of umpires uh, reporting him again. I think Ferguson is a good thing. Ferguson is a good inclusion in the last game before this Andrew Russell got injured. I think Ferguson, and when we're in place of Andrew Russell, I think Tom Banton will come. But Tom Banton hasn't done anything really well in the first game, and he was not really looking in touch. So let's see how it is going to be. But I think RCB will have that edge, looking at the team, looking at the combinations, looking at the wings and the stable and the bowling attack and all. RCB looks little more stable than Kolkata Knight Riders.
Well, we will only find out tomorrow because that's what I'm going to tell all our viewers. मैं बस ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि कल शाम को हमारे साथ जुड़ जाइए 6:50 के बाद हम फिर से आपसे आएंगे और ढेर सारी क्रिकेट के बारे में बात करेंगे. थैंक यू सो वेरी मच राकेश फॉर जॉइनिंग अस. बहुत मजा आया आपसे बात करते हुए. आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टू से वन मोर थिंग. क्रिक ट्रैकर के पेज को फॉलो और सब्सक्राइब कर दो. नोटिफिकेशन की घंटी दबाकर रख दो ताकि एवरी टाइम वी give you any kind of update, you guys will be the first ones to receive it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Good night.